so I'll be there. Never leaving you in the darkness, even when you're out of focus. I will be the light in your life, you're sick.
Don't make me laugh. I'm trying to be serious. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Are you gonna say something?
No.
Okay.
I was gonna be quiet.
Oh, okay. Alright. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Zoe. If you are new here, today I did my friend Bree's makeup, and I did this really dark smoky eye on her. It came out way better than I expected. I haven't done somebody else's makeup in a really long time, so it was a lot of fun being able to do her makeup. And yeah, if you are new here, please subscribe before you leave, and don't forget to like and share this video. And also comment down below if you want to see more of these kinds of videos where I'm doing makeup on somebody else rather than myself, and I will be glad to do those. Also, follow me on Instagram. It is Zoey.Henao, and Snapchat, same thing, Zoey.Henao, because I'm going to be focused more on those social medias than YouTube right now, just so that I can get my following a little bit higher. And also, I will have her social media information linked down below. If you want to learn how to get this link, then just keep watching. Disclaimer, I did lose a lot of clips in this video, so I do apologize in advance. And I do apologize for my editing. I had a lot of difficulties. But yeah, let's just get started. So first I'm prepping her skin with the BADESCU Rose Water Spray, and then I'm going to use the BECCA Backlight Priming Filter and the Makeup Forever Step 1 Smoothing Primer, and I'm just putting that primer in her T-zone because her T-zone does tend to get more oily. Then I'm going to start by doing her brows. I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills the Brow Wiz in Ebony, and I'm just going to shape her brows a little bit and fill them in ever so slightly in the sparse areas because she does like her brows to be very feathery and very messy and natural, so I tried to keep them as natural as possible. Then I go ahead and I carve out her tail and underneath her brow, just to clean up any little mistakes that I may have made. And also I didn't want to carve out her entire brow because, again, we wanted to make this look a lot more natural. Then I also use this same concealer that I'm using right now to carve out her brows. I use it as a primer on her eyelids, and I set it with some translucent powder to make sure that it doesn't crease throughout the day. Then we're going to be using the JACLYN and Morphe palette, my favorite, to do her eyes. And the first color I'm going to take is the color Silk Cream, and this is her transition shade. I'm sorry, I also used the Brow Stylist Plumper to make sure her brows were set in place. But getting back to the eyeshadow, I used the color Silk Cream as her transition shade, and I did lose the clips of me adding the two shades after that. So I added Creamsicle and Pukey into her crease, and this is more of a transition shade than the Silk Cream. The Silk Cream is just to help everything blend very well, but the two colors, Creamsicle and Pukey, are actually visible in the eyeshadow look. So I just lay this down, and then I lay down those colors into her crease as well in the exact same area that I put the Silk Cream. Then I take the color Hunt, and I'm adding this just below that to give this look a lot more color and definition. I didn't want this to be very monochromatic, at least not on her eyes. I wanted this pop of color to really show when I did the smoky eye. So I'm adding Hunts into her crease, and then I go back and forth and blend out the crease shades, and then I'm going to add Jax on top of it. And I wanted to add this shade to add more definition and depth into the eye, but I also wanted to add it because I didn't want this look to be super duper orange. I wanted that mixture of red and that deepness of the red that Jax gave me when I mixed the two colors together. So here I'm just adding Jax on top of the Hunch shade. And then I'm going to take the shade Soda Pop in just a second. I'm going to take the shade Soda Pop and put this on her lid and pack this on all over her lid for this nice smoky look. And when I do this, I'm using a flat shader brush and I am just patting the color onto her lid. I'm not really moving the brush too much. I'm not dragging the brush across her eyelid. I am just patting it on, so that way we get the most color payoff from the shadow. And then I'm going to go back and forth and add more color into her crease, and then go back into packing more color onto the lid, because when you go back and forth you could lose some pigmentation in both areas. So I want to make sure that I keep the pigmentation, so I go back and forth and add more and add more and add more and blend out to make sure everything is nice and seamless and we don't have harsh lines. So this look is a lot of blending. Take your time with it. If you decide to recreate this, take your time with it, because the more you blend, the more colors you add, the more gradient and the more smooth the look turns out to be. So it is worth taking your time on a smoky look, on any kind of smoky look. You always want to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth to make sure you have the best blending you can get. Hopefully that made sense. And also on her lower lash line, I did lose those clips, but I did use the same colors. I literally just went in the same exact steps and used everything, and then I put a black kohl liner in her waterline. And I did add a winged liner and lashes. These are the Kiss number 11 lashes. And yeah, now we're gonna start on her face, and I'm cream contouring with the Fit Me foundation stick. And her foundation I'm using the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter foundation and the Kat Von D Lock-It foundation, and I'm working one side at a time when I'm doing this because both of these foundations dry fairly quickly, so I wanted to take my time and do one side of her face at a time. And I do blend out the foundation before I blend out the contour, because I don't want the contour to muddy up her foundation. And make sure you do drag it down her neck. And also I'm using a brush for this, and I really liked the finish the brush gave me. It looked really beautiful on her skin. The foundation sat really well on her skin, and the brush just did a really good job. Now I'm going to go ahead and highlight her face with the Tarte Shape Tape, and under her eyes, her forehead, her nose, her chin, above her lip, the normal areas that I always do. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some translucent powder underneath her eyes and bake for literally about 15 seconds. I don't keep it there long because these foundations are very matte, this concealer is very matte, and she doesn't have defined creases, so I wasn't very worried about it. And then I'm going to go ahead and set her contour with the Shade and Light palette by Kat Von D, and I use the middle shade. And then I bronze up her skin a little bit more with the HOOLA bronzer, and I add the High Beam liquid highlight from Benefit on her cheekbones just to make her highlight later pop a little bit more. And I use the Luminoso blush. For her inner corner highlight and her brow bone highlight, I use the color Beam from the palette, from the JACLYN palette. And for her lips, I use the lip liner Mauve by NYX and the lip color Bow and Arrow by Kat Von D. So I do apologize for this video being absolutely everywhere. I'm so sorry, but don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and let me know if you enjoyed this kind of video where I'm sitting down doing somebody else's makeup. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, guys, bye!
And I'm like popping my butt out like really bad, like, you know, in my chest forward. Okay, alright.
posture. Posture exercises from green.